So we will start a third session on development of blue economy. The chair of this session is Ambassador Yogendra Kumar, former Indian ambassador to the Philippines. We also have a special address by Mr. Sanjay Panda, Joint Secretary, Indian Ocean Region, Ministry of External Affairs, MEA, India. We also invite distinguished speaker, Dr. S.K. Mohanty, Professor, Research and Information Center for Developing Countries, New Delhi, to the dais, please. Also, may I invite Dr. Sharif Sahrial, Directorate of Venture Capital Management, Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, Jakarta, to the dais, please. Dr. Piti Sri Sangam, Assistant Professor, Chulalongkorn University, Bangkok. Yes. And Mr. Raju Ranjan Chaturvedi, Visiting Fellow, Office of Executive Deputy Chairman, S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies, Nangyong Technological University, Singapore. And Mr. Wu Tangka, Associate Professor, Hanoi University of Environment and Natural Resources, Hanoi. Over to respected chair.
Thank you very much. It's indeed a great pleasure. And I must say that I was associated with the first Delhi Dialogue. So as I can see, it is flowered very well. And it's, I think, now, there is a very good, not only a working program, but also a very intensive and extensive interaction between India and ASEAN on all issues of strategic importance. So, very briefly, I wish to welcome you all and to say that after the forenoon session, where we had discussion, first we had the inaugural session and thereafter we discussion both on technology in blue economy as well as on maritime connectivity. Now we actually come to the heart of the matter as we explore the characteristics of blue economy and the policy options to enhance cooperation between India and ASEAN in this vital sphere. The inaugural session has already provided us the steer to develop the workshop discussions. As the agenda directs us, we will focus on the meaning, scope, and importance of blue economy. The areas of cooperation between India and ASEAN would be explored, drawing upon the activities undertaken by the two sides, as well as the best practices. We can expect the presentations by the panelists as well as the open discussion to suggest concrete policy and program-related inputs for reporting the outcome of the session to the ministerial session tomorrow. So I have great pleasure in inviting Ambassador Panda, who is the head of department in the Ministry of External Affairs dealing with Indian Ocean Affairs. He has a wide experience, apart from his earlier being Deputy Chief of Mission in Tokyo, and also having served in the region and during his distinguished diplomatic career. He's also been Director of China at one time, so I will request Ambassador Panda to speak, perhaps in 15 minutes. Can you finish your? Yes. Okay, right, thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Yogendra Kumar. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, it's a pleasure addressing this session. Ideally, this session should have been the first before we went into the other aspects, but I thought I will make a very quick PowerPoint presentation and just try to set the tone for the discussions with the distinguished panelists. I think it will be easier if I'm there so that I can operate the... I think I'll move there. Friends, are talking about the development of blue economy. Now, the first point that comes to our mind, I mean, why are we discussing blue economy now? This, well, I deal with the Indian Ocean region, and as all of you know, that this is rapidly emerging as the new frontier in the global strategic calculus. And of course, when you are trying to talk about the concept, there are a few things I wish to talk about it in the following four, five separate components. I'll talk about blue economy, the concept and its salience, and Indian Ocean and Indo-Pacific. What is the geostrategic significance? Why are we talking about blue economy in the context of this geographic construct? And of course, the Indian perspective, and how we have a strategic convergence between India and ASEAN so far as blue economy is concerned. And finally, what is the vision of the future, vision for the future? To start, what is the state of our oceans? You know, as all of us know, our lands are getting progressively scarce, and we are progressively looking at the seas. Now, the way we look at the sea, it is an inexhaustible resource. It's a bottomless sink. We can virtually dump anything in the sea, and there's no dearth of space there. However, what has happened is there is a progressive degradation in the ocean health in the process, where there is overexploitation of marine resources, especially overfishing, and also dumping unrelated and untreated land pollutants. And of course, we are aware of oil spills, and with the increasing movement of ships in the oceans, there is the ballast water pollution that we are confronted with. And of course, the adverse impact of climate change, which is leading to ocean acidification, ocean warming, and loss of marine diversity. And we are trying to look for the answers of all these problems by looking at blue economy. Now, what is blue economy? Now, blue economy as a concept, which basically the idea is still crystallizing, but the idea as it emerged initially, it basically tried to distinguish between blue economy and ocean economy, and the difference lies in sustainability. It is the sustainable development of ocean resources which in short defines blue economy, and optimum utilization of our oceanic space. There are two parallel strands of the development of the concept of blue economy. One is the socio-economic model, which is, as we all know, is basically as an integral element of the sustainable development goals. And there is a business model, which encompasses innovative and dynamic business metrics going beyond national barriers. Now, this concept initially actually emerged as a business model, and we are aware that Gunter Pauli, when he initially coined these terms and published it in April 2010, he was actually, in his book on blue economy, he was making a case for 100 innovations creating 100 million jobs. And this, there was a sequel which he published later, which was Blue Economy version 2.0, upgraded this target to 200 projects with $4 billion investment and 3 million jobs. So it's basically started as a business model, but gradually this turned out to be a lifeline for several small island states. In fact, from my experience, I could tell you, as I was the High Commissioner in a small island nation called the Seychelles, there, in fact, blue economy was perceived as the lifeline. It was, I mean, all the aspects of blue economy was kind of conceived as a holistic model for the growth and development of the ocean maritime resources, which was the lifeline of not only Seychelles, but of all major island states, the small island states. So, the contribution of blue economy is can be seen in several areas. I've tried to identify a few here: food security, poverty alleviation, mitigation, resilience to climate change, and enhanced trade and investment, maritime connectivity, and of course diversification in various areas, job creation, socio-economic growth. And this, you can see in this slide that it is related to an all-encompassing spheres of not only economic and social development, but also has its special meaning in terms of maritime security. But what are the challenges and what are the key enablers? The challenges that we face in promoting blue economy are, can be broadly looked at habitat protection and preserving the marine ecology, and lack of technology and need for high capital investments. And of course, mining and resource extraction from the oceans is important, but at the same time, it endangers the ecology. And what is critical, that while we are talking about blue economy, the major challenge that we face is integrating the blue economy principles into the decision-making process of the government. So the key enablers of blue economy, which I'll of course delve into this a little later, but the key enablers are maritime security, innovative funding, dynamic business models, and technological developments. Now, I'd like to see why are we talking about blue economy? What is the geostrategic significance? Now, from an Indian perspective, as you can see, that we have always been a maritime nation, and as you can see here, we are right in the center of the Indian Ocean with our peninsular landmass jutting 2,000 kilometers into the ocean. And at the same time, this is a very interesting sailors trading map, which is very old, almost about 1,500 years old. As you can see that along with the wind patterns, the trade used to be conducted at that time. And what resulted at that point was, along with the goods which were traded, the culture, the people, the ideas, everything exchanged and contacts were established. So connectivity is something that we knew then. And this is an idea which is now getting resonance now in terms of while we are talking about promoting blue economy. Now, India's maritime geography, as you know, we have a huge coastline of more than 7,500 kilometers, and we have 1,082 islands, and also a major exclusive economic zone, which is about 2.3 million square kilometers. So India's economic progress, accordingly, as you can see, and our growth and development is intrinsically linked to the Indo-Pacific. In fact, for India, the most of our trade, in fact 90% of the trade by volume and 70% by value, is transacted by sea. And within the Indian Ocean region, you can see that there are major international shipping lanes, sea lanes, and the major traffic flow. You can see that more than 100,000 ships transit the Indian Ocean region every year. And of course, we are aware of this, there's 60% of world's oil, 50% of world's container shipments, and 33% of the world's bulk cargo transits through the Indian Ocean. And of course, the Indian Ocean is unique in the sense that it is landlocked to the north. So it can only be accessed through what in maritime parlance we call choke points. And these are the major choke points through which the shipping and the trade can take place. And any blockade of these choke points can effectively lead to a global economic crisis. And as you can see in the Indo-Pacific, the major sea lines of communication and the choke points, and how the shipping and the trade and the movement and has grown over the years. You can see the traffic density in this slide. And very interestingly, 1/3 of the population, 1/3 of the global population resides in this area. And that gives a major strategic importance to this region. Having said that, what is the blue economy that India, how does India look at blue economy? Why it is important from our perspective? The main principle that we adhere to is the sustainable ocean-based growth. That means we are talking about responsible utilization of resources rather than indiscriminate exploitation. And of course, we have our basic objective of generating employment, ensure sustainability in business and economic models. This is as I had mentioned earlier, this is an all-encompassing concept. So it includes trade and investment, infrastructure development, tourism and culture, marine science and technology, shipping, sustainable fisheries, protection of marine environment, and much more. And of course, it is in this context that maritime safety and security assumes importance, because we have to first secure our oceanic space if we have to make progress and attain our objectives outlined by Blue Economy. And in this context, it is not that we see ourselves in isolation. We have to be in a regional cooperative framework that this concept can evolve. For example, IORA, Indian Ocean Rim Association, an association of 21 littoral countries, 21 countries whose shores are washed by the waters of the Indian Ocean. And for all the 21 countries, Blue Economy has really gained traction over the years, and that is why this is something that we are debating, and many of the in regional frameworks